Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Meet the Candidate series. Our next guest is a first time candidate for the Cambridge City Council. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome the one, the only, Tonia Hicks. Hello, Tonia. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jimmy. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. So, Tonia, first time candidate for Cambridge City Council. Tell me, in the middle of a pandemic, what motivated you? What inspired you to say, you know what? I need to run for Cambridge City Council.
Well, Jimmy, I tell you, when you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And quite frankly, I'm tired of being on the menu. We the everyday people, which is the theme of our campaign. The pandemic showed us a lot of things. I mean, things that we already knew, but it kind of made it clear that when you're not at the table, you don't know what's going on. And I'm really tired of that. So yeah.
Are you a renter here in Cambridge?
I am.
Okay. And you've been here how long?
8 years.
Cool. And you must feel, or do you feel a warm affinity for the city?
Of course. I'm not a native Cantabrigian, but I'm a Cantabrigian at heart.
Okay.
I live here and I love this city, and that's why I decided to run also.
Well, tell me. So give me some ideas of what you'd like to see, what you would hope to accomplish as a Cambridge City Council person. Give me a few of the ideas of where you think we need work and what we could do better.
Sure. Well, I'll just start with my platform. I have 4 pillars on my platform. The first one is housing stability. The second one is food security or food insecurity. The third is youth and young adult investment between the ages of 18 and 30. And last and finally, not least, is environmental justice. And so all 4 of those things are very dear to my heart. Can we do more? Sure. But when you try to do a platform, I think keeping it simple and short and to the meat of things, right? Because if you don't have stable housing or food to eat, really, you can't think about anything else. People as humans, we need stable housing and we need just 3 basic meals, man, that are good for it. Good, nutritious meals, not just anything. So,
right. In terms of the housing policy, there are a couple of different camps in the city. There's for Better Cambridge, and there's the Residents Alliance, I believe is the name of it. Forgive me if I mispronounced that or mischaracterized it. Not my intention. But do you have a particular group of housing advocates that you would be affiliated with, or the camp that you would fall into? Or do you have your own ideas about what has to happen in terms of housing in the city?
Well, we're grateful that we were endorsed by Better Cambridge, but we were also endorsed by Cambridge Residents Alliance.
Okay.
And so housing is a very complex issue. And it's going to take all of us collaborating, working together to make sure that we have affordable and stable housing for the residents of Cambridge.
Mm-hmm.
So there are a few things, there are a lot of things that we can do, but it's not one thing. One thing is not going to solve the housing problem as bad as it is right now.
Right. When you say we got to work together in your past career, have you been a collaborator when you work on issues? Have you worked well with other people?
Of course, you have to be a collaborator, right? Like, it's like any relationship. There are compromises, right? It can't always go your way. It can't always go the other person's way. You have to compromise when you're in relationships in order for them to work. Otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah. Well, that's certainly true in politics. Otherwise, you got gridlock. Otherwise, you might as well be in Washington, right?
Yeah. And we don't want that.
Right. So in terms of, that's interesting. You might be the only candidate that's endorsed by both a Better Cambridge and the Residents Alliance. In terms of you're talking about food insecurity, what do you see the problems are in Cambridge, and where do you see how could we do better along those lines? I know there is Food for Free here in Cambridge, that organization Food for Free, but what do you think? What do you think needs to be done?
Yeah, I mean, I think they did some good when it came to food insecurity during COVID-19. But clearly, with us having refrigerators around the city, there's still a lot of other people who are not eating, right? And unfortunately, there's a lot of shame that comes with that, right? So fortunately, with these refrigerators, people can just go and pick up the food that they need, and then other people will go back to the refrigerator and replenish it. But I mean, you have most people who are food insecure generally are college students. We also have your seniors and people who are disabled and single parents. And so it crosses, it crosses a large range of people who are food insecure. So as much as we can do, I know the Biden administration has recently increased food stamps. So people are getting more food stamps monthly now, or should be getting more money shortly. And so that's a start. But I think as a city as wealthy as Cambridge, who has a lot of excess, we could also help by, in like having our own refrigerator or having some refrigerators run by the city and making sure that people are getting the food that they need. Right. So, yeah.
Right. So, Tonia, tell me, in terms of environmental justice, you mentioned that one of the planks on your platform. How do you see that unfolding? How do you see your role as a Cambridge City Council person advocating for environmental justice?
Well, with environmental justice, I would just like to see us broaden the scope of that. Generally in Cambridge, when people talk about environment, we talk about bicycles and we talk about trees, right? And yes, we all love trees and we all love bicycles. And of course, when you have more trees, the neighborhood is cooler. But I think if we talked about it from a more holistic point of view, like if you ask people, do you know anybody that has asthma, right? Most people are going to say, oh, yeah, I know someone. Do you know someone that has, high blood pressure? Oh, yeah, I know someone. Do you know someone that has diabetes, right? And generally out of the three, somebody's going to, either they're going to say, yeah, I have it, or somebody that they know, friend or family may have it, right? So if we talk about those things, I think we could include a lot more people in on the conversation. Because I think when we're kind of one dimensional, we're only talking about bicycles or we're only talking about trees, there are a lot of people who are working 2 to 3 jobs just to pay their rent in this city. Not that they don't get it, but it's not as, it's not palatable to them. But when you talk about asthma and when you talk about high blood pressure and diabetes, and we talk about, lack of access or limited access, then it makes the conversation a lot more well-rounded.
Right. When you talk about environmental justice and you bring up asthma, diabetes, high blood pressure, are those also affected? The environment is affecting those those aspects of personal health?
Sure. Like asthma, I mean, think about it. If the air itself is not clear, they'll tell you some days it's good for people who have respiratory problems to be out. And then there are days when, it's not so good. The air is moderate or bad. Right. And so, right. Of course, that's a very important, your breathing is very important.
Right.
Too.
And trees help that. Trees help purify the air.
Of course.
And so tell me, so we got transportation. Is that one of your issues as well? Or you had housing, food insecurity, environmental, and what else?
I had youth and young adult.
Yes, please speak to that, please.
Yeah.
So how do you see that unfolding? What would you like to see in terms of the youth development?
Well, you have a lot of people who may not want to go to a 4-year university, right? And maybe we should provide better trades or better options for them to look at the trades, electricity, plumbing, carpentry. All of those are high earning positions where people can still afford to live in Cambridge, but not have a 4-year university, 4-year college degree, right? And also, what about more mentorship, right? We all understand between the hours of 2 and 6, that's when most young folks get in trouble because they don't have anything to do, right? And so if we had better mentorship programs where we were mentoring these young folks, giving them skills or giving them other options to look at, then I think we all would be better off for that, right? So
Sure. Well, a lot of the other candidates have talked about that as well. So you'd be in good company on the council because people are realizing college isn't for everyone. Not everybody wants to go to college, and you can make money. You can make money in the trades, really good money. Try getting a plumber today. Try getting an electrician. Try getting a carpenter. So I think you're on the right track in that respect. So Tonia, we're at our closing statements. Please tell people who you are, how they can find you, if you have a website, where they can make a large donation to your campaign, where they can volunteer to help you if they would like to, and where you would like them in the order to vote for you.
Sure. Well, we'll start vote number one. I mean, you got who wants number 2 or 3? I want number 1, of course, right? I'm running to win. I'm not running to lose. Second, vote Tonia Hicks, ToniaHicks.com. You can find everything on our website. We have a survey for your concerns as a Cambridge residents, for you to tell us what you think and what you want. We also have volunteer links. So if you're interested in volunteer, and we also have, you're able to contribute to our campaign, which we still need. We have 13 days left, and we want to finish strong. And the way we finish strong is finish mailing out all these mailers that we have, and it takes money to do that. And also, we have some public appearances where we're going to feed the people that we're going to meet. And so that takes money also. So if you're willing and able, please contribute. Again, it's votetoniahicks.com. And again, our theme is We the Everyday People, because we're trying to be inclusive of everybody that lives in Cambridge and not just one sector. And so, Jimmy, I appreciate this time, and thank you, Brandon. Vote Tonia Hicks number 1 for Cambridge City Council.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Tonia. Great to meet you, and congratulations on running. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Thank you for throwing your hat in the ring in this very difficult time. It takes a lot of courage and ambition and fortitude to run for public office, so we appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much, Tonia. I will see you on the campaign trail. Take care.
All right, you too. Take care.